মানে আপনি জাস্ট নাম বলে দেন আর সবাই যাতে ওইখানে বসে প্রেজেন্টেশনটা কমপ্লিট করে, আপনিও দরকার ওইখানে বসে হ্যান্ড মাইক নিয়ে কথা বলেন, সো দ্যাট ধরেন প্রেজেন্টেশন দেখার পরে ডিসকাশন এখানে এসে ডিসকাস করে দিলে হবে।
তো আমরা কেউ ইসে বসবো না?
এখন বসার দরকার নেই, এখন আপনারা ওইখানে বসেই ফ্যাসিলিটেট করেন, মানে যখন সেশন আপনারা যখন প্যানেলিস্ট হিসেবে ডিসকাস করবেন তখন এখানে এসে বসেন, নাহলে যে এটা দেখা আপনাদের জন্য অসুবিধা হয়ে যাচ্ছে
সো
ওই জন্য।
প্রথমে তাহলে ম্যাডামকে একটা ছোট ছোট স্পিচ দিতে হবে।
ওকে, হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে, হ্যাঁ শুরু করার জন্য ঠিক আছে, শুরু করুন।
So now I'd like to invite our chair, Dr. Ishrat Islam, to start our proceedings, today's proceedings.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon, and thank you, Professor Zakir Hussain, for introducing all the panelists and our guest of honor. We are already late, and I apologize for that. It's not, definitely we take responsibility of managing the time little bit because the earlier session took little longer, and then again, technical difficulty. So there was a problem in Wi-Fi system. I hope those who are in online, Dr. Bishwajit Mollik and our keynote presenter, Ms. Lynn Mary Hemberg, hope you are listening to us. I want to get a green signal from those who are operating the system.
Yes.
So without any further delay, I like to start the program. And before that, I like to mention there were 5 lectures and the keynote speech was scheduled for this session. And we have our keynote presenter online. She is ready. And among the 5 presentations, we have only 2. So we will get a little bit more time. So that's how we can manage the time better. And unfortunately, we are missing 3 presentations. And today's topic is very much relevant for Bangladesh and the entire world also, because climate change and ecosystem service. The climate change, in my young age, I never heard of this term. So this is the generation when we have started talking about this term climate change. And I think in all the papers, this, the climate change, its impact, the consequences, these are going to be discussed. And ecosystem service. This is like ecosystem service, we take it granted. But we know, particularly those who are here today in this session, we know how we are harming ecosystem. And actually, we are not harming ecosystem, we are harming ourselves, our existence. So these are the key issues which is going to be discussed today. And now I like to hand over the mic to Professor Zakir Hussain, because he's the moderator today. And among the panelists, Dr. Farhana Ahmed is still not here, but we have Dr. Bishwajit Mollik and Mr. Abirul Zabbar today with us. And we have our guest of honor, Mr. Mohammad Firoz Sharkar, Administrator, Khulna City Corporation. We'll hear from Mr. Sharkar at the later part of this session. Professor Zakir Hussain, please.
Thank you, Professor Ishrat Islam. So we are going for our presentation, keynote presentation. So today we have Lynn Mary Heimberg, and the title is Climate, Budget and Nature-Based Solution in Oslo City. It's, the title encouraged me to hear the learnings from the Oslo City, because here we have our city professionals, so they can learn from the experiences of Oslo. And we are the researcher, we also focusing on these issues like nature-based solution, ecosystem adaptation. These are the very new for us, and we want to avail something good for our country development and also our planning. So I would like to Lynn Mary Heimberg to start her presentation. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you. You may
Wonderful.
start.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very honored to speak with you here today. I wish I could be there in person and visit your beautiful country, but maybe next time. So I will try and share my presentation now. Can you see it? Wonderful, thank you. So I'll be talking about our climate budget and our nature-based solutions here in Oslo. Sorry, now I'm doing, there we go. So we have several climate goals for Oslo, and we have gathered them all in the climate action plan for Oslo. We have decided to keep all our climate work in one action plans to benefit from the synergies between the different actions and to try and avoid the maladaptation and malmitigation. If you keep the goals separate, you might be working in one area and doing harm in the other. Let me see. The climate change affects Oslo in different way. These are a collection of the different consequences of climate change for Norway. So stormwater and flooding is definitely the biggest challenge for us today. But heat waves and drought is also something that is coming more. I think you may laugh if you hear what a heat wave is defined as in Oslo. It's actually 3 days or more with 27 degrees Celsius or higher, which I think for us that would be a challenge, but I know for you, you will think we are a little bit silly for thinking that. But all these different actions are increasing, and it's something we have to work on to become climate resilient. We see climate adaptation as something you don't work on it separately or as a different project. It's a premise for the work that we do in Oslo. If we want to develop a climate resilient city, it has to be a premise for all the different work we do in the municipality. So it's mainstreamed as a part of our daily work. The knowledge base for what we do is very important. The UN has released in 2013 a report on climate change for the world, and the Climate Service Center took that information and did an analysis for Norway. And based on that analysis, they have done a climate profile for each of the counties in Norway. And that's the most important knowledge base for each of the counties in Norway. And we took this in Oslo and did a climate change vulnerability analysis to see where we are vulnerable for the consequences of climate change. And that's the basis of all the work that we do. If there is one thing I want you to take away from my presentation today is the Oslo climate budget. It's the most important governance tool that we have. And it breaks down all the long-term goals that we have in all our climate work to annual targets. And each target is then mainstreamed into our daily operations and budgeting, so that it's manageable, and the responsibility for each action is placed in the different agencies in Oslo. It used to be only for climate mitigation, but it's now also for natural carbon sequestration and for climate adaptation. It has been a huge success for Oslo. It started in 2017 and has now been adopted by more than 13 cities, including London, New York, Mumbai, and many more in the pipeline. So if there is anything you want to look more into and see if it can fit your cities, then it's the climate budget. We work a lot through the C40 network in doing training and courses and more about the Oslo climate budget. I could do a whole talk only on this, but I just wanted to mention it as a very important tool for us. So these are different sectors that we work with climate adaptation. And for today's session, I will only talk about nature management and restoration. To understand how we work with natural resource management, ecosystem services, I need to explain what Oslo looks like. This is all of Oslo municipality, and this is the forested area of Oslo. We call it Marka. That's the green area surrounding her. It's a border that was adopted by law back in the 1990s, but has been in effect since the 70s, which means that the gray area is the development zone and the pink area is the city center. And we cannot build outside that area. Everything around is forests. And it's used for timber and other things, but it's mainly kept for public health, for biodiversity, and for recreational use. And even though it was originally for the population, it is our most important climate adaptation action. Because if we didn't have that, we would be much more vulnerable to especially stormwater. Oslo is formed more like a bowl. So the forest surrounds the hills around Oslo and retains the water there when you have heavy precipitation. Otherwise, the water would run very fast down exactly to the city center and into the fjord. And I will talk you through some of the actions we do in Marka, in the development zone, and in the fjord. So when we are working in Marka, we cannot do anything that harms the biodiversity in any way. But one thing that we have done is we've done a pilot project on leaky dams for flood management. So earlier, Marka has been drained a lot for forestry and growing timber. So we want to keep more water in the forest. So these dams, we use only natural resources like wood and stones and build them in ideal settings. And normal water will pass through, so it does not interfere with the rivers or creeks at all. But when it rains a lot, then this installation works and keeps a lot of water in the forest that would normally run straight down into the development site and cause damage on roads and infrastructure, etc. It's been very successful so far, and we have also started building them when we build pathways and other things, and we're hoping to upscale it in the future. Peatland restoration is extremely important. Peatlands are very, very important both for carbon sequestration, for biodiversity, and for water management. A lot of the peatland in Oslo and Norway was drained for forestry back in the days, and we are now trying to restore it. On the left, you can see the peat as it was 100 years ago or so. On the picture on the right, you can see the peatland before restoration. It was drained to try and grow more wood. It was not successful even for forestry. So we have been taking down the forests, closing the drainage ditches, and then this is the peatland today, slowly regaining its original functions, and biodiversity is increasing a lot. especially for birds, insects, and amphibians. It's also important for forest fire management to have these wet areas to stop the fires if they're happening. In the development zone, we have several different projects for climate adaptation. And usually, if we do something for climate adaptation, it's very positive for public health, for beautification of the city, and for biodiversity. One thing we're doing is the Oslo's Tree Project. The plan is to plant 100,000 trees between 2020 and 2030. So far, we've planted around 16,000, and we try to do it with schools, with NGOs, with local businesses, and we also do youth programs so that younger people can have summer jobs or training doing planting trees. As I said, stormwater is the main issue in Oslo today. And one thing that we're working hard on is flood pathways, because the water will come and it will find its way through the city no matter what. And as I mentioned, it's a quite steep city, so the water will have high velocity, which creates more damages as it goes through. We have done a map of the city that shows where the water will go and where we should do these floodways, and to keep it have it pass safely through the city. It hasn't been, we haven't done much yet, but the efforts have been increasing ever since it's been part of the climate budget. So we're hoping to start building this network as soon as possible. Reopening rivers and creeks is another issue that we've been working on for several years in Oslo. A lot of the rivers and creeks were put in pipes, especially back in the 40s and 50s. What we see is that when it rains or floods, the water usually takes the same routes as the original rivers and creeks did, which is not surprising. And now with more rainwater, the pipes can no longer hold the water. So it's important to open them again, both for biodiversity, for the safety, and also for the city itself, as we're trying to use it as a resource in the city. This is where they are in the process of opening the old pipes. This is what it looks like today. Sorry. So it's important to make it as the rivers usually were. They use different substrates, they plant native plants so that biodiversity can come back into the river. It's been quite popular among the population in Oslo as well, as they usually make pathways around and the children love playing there, and it also cools down the city in warmer days. The Oslo Fjord has a lot of challenges. There has been a lot of pollution, habitat loss, eutrophication. So the life in the fjord is not going very well, and it's been going down for many, many years. It's been, in the last few years, the public eye has been on this, and there have been a lot of efforts to turn this around. One project that we in the Climate Agency did is restore eelgrass meadows. They have been gone from the Oslo Fjord since the last 50 to 70 years. It's an extremely important habitat. It's called the kindergarten of the ocean, and the eelgrass meadows are an important area for especially cod and other fish to be when they're young. So we have done a pilot project in restoring it, where we took donor meadows and got eelgrass and planted it out in the Oslo Fjord, and it's been quite successful. So we are hoping to upscale it this summer. And for climate adaptation, it's important because it's reduces erosion, and it also buffers against ocean acidification. So this was a few of the projects that we're doing in Oslo. And even though we're quite different, Oslo is a city with 700,000 inhabitants, so I know it's quite different, but I hope something can be inspiring to you as well, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you for now.
Thank you, Lynn, for your experience sharing with us. So, from this presentation, we have got some lessons, so we can think about our country context, like climate budget used as a governance tool. Some times ago, while working with Ministry of Disaster Management and AFG, we talked about the disaster budgeting. So some sort of exercise we did while working with that consultancy. So, but after that, we did not find any implementation of the climate disaster budgeting thing. So our city government can use these things, climate budget as a governance tool, and also the project, the Oslo, emphasize on the ecosystem resilience, just capturing biodiversity conservation, capturing and storing carbon. So and the main thing before going through those initiatives, we need some risk assessment, climate risk assessment for the cities. Still, our government or city government did not think about so the process and also the tools. Some city government, only few city governments try about some developing disaster risk sensitive master plan, but still in the planning practice we didn't have some sort of experiences. So we have another two presentation in our session. Our young researcher developed a research and developed article for this session. So now I'd like to invite those presenters for this for their presentation. So and I'd like to Anika, Sharma Leela, Sama, and MD Mehdi Hassan. And the title of the article is Quantifying Carbon Footprints, a Comparative Analysis of Carbon Emission from Different Land Uses of Khulna. So we will also get some good insight from the Khulna city, how the tools can be used in quantifying the carbon footprint. So thank you, and now I'd like to present the article.
But it's not working. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Anika, and the topic is quantification of carbon footprint. It is a comparative analysis of the carbon emission based on different land uses of Khulna City Corporation. If we ever map our carbon emissions, like we map our roads and land parcels, would we still plan our cities the same? We often talk about the industrial pollution, cars and planes, but what about your nearest land or the neighborhood? Here, I have traced the life cycle carbon footprint of different land to answer only one question, and that is, how much does the land use impact the climate? So what is a carbon footprint? It is the total amount of greenhouse gas that is released in the year by a person or a process or an activity. We can take it as product's climate impact score. To calculate that, we are using here life cycle assessment. It helps us to look at the entire picture, to see where the raw materials are taken from, how it's being processed, and how it's being thrown away, and what amount of carbon dioxide is being produced in every stages. So the objectives of the study is to calculate the carbon emission equivalent, to convert that into quantified carbon dioxide, and to pinpoint the source. The study area is Ward Nong 28, 30, and 31 of Khulna City Corporation. The reason is the highest share of agricultural land, high consumption of electricity, energy, and construction activities due to major residential land use, and also due to its economical importance, which is because of its geographical location alongside the Rupsha River. Here is the methodology. After conceptualization, we have defined our objectives and selected our study area. And after conducting our reconnaissance survey and land use trend, we have selected the major 3 land uses. And then we have collected primary and secondary data. The primary data consists of the data of the products or the food habits of the residents where carbon can be emitted. And for the secondary data, we have taken shape files for geospatial analysis and standards from ISO 14067. And finally, we have conducted our life cycle assessment. Here, we can take a look at the major 3 land uses. The highest one is the residential land, which is 56%, and the second one is the circulatory network, which is 8.5%, and the third one is 6.8%, which is agricultural land. On the left side of the screen, you can take a look on the summary of the key standards that have been taken from ISO 14067, and on the right side, there are the a breakdown of the phases of the land uses where carbons are being emitted. Our key findings of the residential land use shows us that majority of the carbon dioxide is being produced during the construction phase. Like for our study, it's 1,041 tons of carbon dioxide per year. And for the operation phase, it is the food consumption that is causing the majority of the carbon dioxide. For agricultural land use, we can see that this land use is causing the least amount of carbon dioxide, which is only 198 tons of carbon dioxide per year, and the majority is being produced during the production phase. And during the soil preparation phase, electricity is only used for lighting purpose, hence the consumption is low, and thus the emission. For the circulation network, there are 2 stages where carbon dioxide is being produced. One is construction, where the used material is the major source of the highest amount of carbon dioxide in this study, and the fuel used for transportation is adding up to it. For the operation phase, private mode and public mode were considered. It is to be noted that the majority of the public transport of our study area are battery run, that's why it's not adding up that much of the carbon dioxide. To look at ward-based emission, we have to look at the major land uses of these wards. Ward 28 has major land use of residential and circulation network, and that's why the majority of the emission is coming from the construction phase. Again, Ward 30 has similar kind of land use. However, in this phase, both of the land use are producing similar amount of carbon dioxide. But in terms of Ward 28, the circulation network was producing 3.1 times more carbon dioxide than the residential. Ward 31 again have similar kind of major land use. Here, agricultural land use is pretty prevalent, which is 18%. But in the previous 2 land use, previous 2 wards, agricultural land use was almost 0, like 0.23%, and that's why such kind of such proportion of mixed land use is causing Ward 31 to be the least emitter of carbon dioxide. Finally, here is a summary of the ward-based emission, where we can see that Ward 28 is producing the highest amount of carbon dioxide, which is 45%, and Ward 30 is producing 37%, and Ward 31 is producing only 17%. The key findings highlights that the majority of the carbon dioxide is being produced from the construction material that is used for residential and the road surface. And that's why it also highlights the importance of adopting sustainable construction material and exploring the alternative methodologies and technologies. Thank you. I'm open for questions.
Thank you, Anika, for your nice presentation. We learned something from, she talked about some alternative construction practices. Thank you. So now we're going to another presentation. I'd like to invite, so from the team, MD Firoz Sarkar, Abilul Jabbar, Rezbina Khanam Rikta, and Firdaus Hossain, the person from the team, to invite for the presentation of resilient livelihood, poverty mitigation, and climate adaptation for vulnerable communities in Khulna city. After this presentation, we will take some questions for the presenters. So after this presentation, the floor will be open for questions.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. I am Firdaus Hussain, presenting our paper. The paper titled Resilient Livelihood, Poverty Mitigation and Climate Adaptation for Vulnerable Communities in Khulna. Historically, Khulna has been attracted migrants due to trade, rail, port job, etc. In recent decades, we have seen that Khulna has a climate impacts, especially cyclones, have also driven migrations. This has led to rapid urbanization, slum expansion, and mounting pressure on urban services for the city. Now we have seen that over 60% of slum dwellers are climate migrants, with informal settlements growing fast, staining wash, housing, and education system. From this map shows Khulna's administrative layout that Khulna face both climate shocks like salinity and flooding, also chronic diseases such as poverty, unmanaged waste, and extreme heat. Unplanned growth has led to a decline in green and blue space for the city, while plastic and waste continues to rise. From this map, we have seen major development of the cities occurred in the south and southwestern part of the city. Between 2011 and 2019, Khulna saw accelerated growth, often without planned infrastructure and resilience measures. So we will focus our study to assessing the vulnerable settlements in Khulna, measuring poverty and livelihood insecurity with multidimensional factors or indicators, and later mapping special patterns of the vulnerabilities. So we developed the settlement living index using 16 indicators, visualizing through the GIS mapping, and we validated our findings through focus group discussion to incorporate community perspective on their problems and priorities. So from the result of vulnerability mapping, first we'd like to see the distribution of critical infrastructure index. Those highlighted wards are the most critical areas where the informal settlements said that these are the critical situation in terms of these variables from their infrastructure indexing. So we have identified some wards based on those variables. Later, we have seen the livelihood index. From this variable, those highlighted areas of the wards of the city found that their livelihood indexing is quite critical. And then we have found out that land tenure and housing index from these wards. And when we the score were aggregated, these wards showed severe deprivations, confirming both spatial and service-based vulnerabilities. From the field validation, community insights, we taken that highlighted issues beyond infrastructure, that they have highlighted their irregular income, unsafe water and sanitation, inadequate housing. Also, they have feelings of loss of dignity and social exclusion. Also, they described increased vulnerability for women and children, shelter and energy insecurity, and waterlogging. Yet, many expresses hope and collective resilience. Here are some quotes of they have exposed that about their climate vulnerability and waterlogging issues, lack of sanitation issues, etc. So, Khulna City Corporation has taken some initiative like a community development initiative to support these livelihood issues. KCC like to work with livelihood improvement project with UNDP, BRAC, and GIZ and other development partners to build institutional support, social, environmental, and infrastructure. Also, they have the city corporation have also taken some initiative to economical reduce the economical support them through economical funding. Here I like to add the city corporation has done for to elevate this livelihood improvement. So the also city corporation have done women empowerment, KCC engagement through reducing the climate reduction, and also KCC contribute through the partnership with those UNDPs and other donors to help them. Also, city corporation had found out key outcomes that to reduce income, to reduce climate-induced hazard, better infrastructure and connectivity, women-led resilience initiative, also integrated of community plans in KCC policies through these actions. Here is some results of the KCC's initiative. As a practitioners, KCC what are they doing? And also KCC has done aligning these issues to develop the city's overall infrastructure development. Like currently KCC's current project on climate change adapted urban development funded by KFW that has been working to retain the boundary walls of rivers, also preserving 23 water bodies, and also will build drainage to reduce waterlogging issues on those specific wards areas. Also, KCC have a specific targeted to reduce the waterlogging issues through that KCC has a master plan. That first phase of that master plan is ongoing, and second phase will be proposed to reduce this waterlogging issues. And also another waste issues will be solved as the KCC also is developing a waste management master plan. Is also also the model for reducing waste that is ongoing. And in conclusion, the KCC's envision a resilient Khulna through targeted actions in vulnerable wards, climate adaptation infrastructure for housing, wash and drainage, sustainable livelihood, and also urban greeneries and community-led solutions that ensure no one left behind. So in conclusion, that empowering vulnerable communities today helps better and equitable and climate-ready cities for tomorrow. Thank you all.
So thank you, Firdaus, giving us some reflection of KCC work. So to see the presentation, we can talk about how KCC transitioning governance to RIGS governance, and while working with, partnering with different donor agencies, they directly impact the livelihood and livelihood adaptation of the urban poor communities in Khulna city. So now I'd like to invite all the audience to say something about these three presentations. Directly you can ask question and also give some reflection to young researchers and also our keynote presenter. So please.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Mohammad Shakil Akhtar. I'm a professor at the Department of URP at BUET. My question, I would not say it's a question, it's rather a curiosity or a query to Ms. Lim regarding the climate budget of Oslo. When I talk, whenever I hear the term like budget, I actually still start thinking of earning and spending something. So when you are talking about the budget, when you are restoring the pit, it's something you are thinking about how much carbon dioxide emission you are saving or releasing to the air or something like that? Just need a clarity. And what is
Yes.
the target for 2024, for example, from peatland restoration or from leaky dam?
So the climate budget for the mitigation part, all the different mitigation actions are divided for each year. So when we set the budget, we have what are we doing in right now we're working, what are we doing in 2026? And then each of the actions are placed within the agency that is responsible. And it has the budget, what it will cost and how much carbon do we think this will decrease. When it comes to the other actions such as climate change adaptation and carbon sequestration, we don't have that. We don't have specific numbers. We're more concerned with what it will, how it will make us more resilient, for instance. But when it comes to the mitigation part, we have that team has calculated how much you mitigate within each action. But we also have other actions that you have to do this to get the carbon mitigation in 3 years or 5 years, but we also include those actions if that has to take place next year. So the climate budget, I think we can talk for a full day, but it's something very interesting to look into for the future.
Thank you, Lynn, for answering the question. Anybody in the room have any question? So if we don't have any question right now, so now we move to our panelists. Now it's time to hear from our distinguished panelists. So first I like to invite Dr. Bishwajit Mollik, so Associate Professor, University of Utrecht. So give your reflection about our three presentation and overall reflection about the this session, climate change and ecosystem services. So thank you. Thank
you. Good afternoon to everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. No, so it's been a pleasure to be joined online. So I'm sorry if I know that I was in Bangladesh 1 week before, so I could be there in person. Anyway, it's good to see and to learn from these three nice presentation. I would say the climate mobility budget finance is really interesting topic nowadays. And as Lynn mentioned that the heat stress adaptation is a different definition than we do have. So that means it's also contextual, right? And the climate financing for Bangladesh and climate financing for Norway should be different. And same like here. So as we all are from the planning graduate, I think the planning is also contextual. So in that sense, how our young researchers like Anika and also Firdaus, they have mentioned about this climate issues in the Khulna city. I think it's also very contextual. So that means the planning should be really on the spatial basis at the localized. And one interesting thing I found in their presentation, particularly from the Anika and Firdaus presentation, that the how they quantify this carbon footprint actually. Yeah, it's a very local level. I think it's a great initiatives to have this kind of information at local level that help us to make the planning is in efficient way. Usually what we do the climate modeling data and then downscaling things and then find out what we should do. But if we can do this kind of methodology in very practical way, and I think our honorable professors, those who actually are working on this and teach them so they can make it very efficient way. And if there is any possibility to contribute on this topic from here, from the Netherlands or other international institutes, those who also do the carbon footprint, I would be happy to assist the process. And if the students like Anika or other things, they want to know about the different methodologies of carbon footprint, I will try to make the connections from my side. And regarding the vulnerable communities and all this initiative that the KCC has been taking care of, so I like the idea of no one left behind approach. But I thought that still we do have a lot of challenges to address these things, no one left behind. So it's a big mission and vision for us, and I think as a developing countries. So to make this happen, I think we should start also the co-creation process in the planning processes. And I am pretty much sure that my last visit in 1 week ago, I saw that how the local people actually working on this, how the NGOs and also the researchers, particularly from the Khulna University graduates, I saw them how ethically and rigorously they're going to the field, collect the data and working on these things. So from that point of view, I think I'm really optimistic that very soon the country will be changed and the process of the research and the dedication of our young researchers colleagues with the joint effort from the abroad and also from the financial institutions, I think there will be a good chance to make a better future for the Bangladesh, and it will be better planning opportunities for India. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Bishwajit Mollik, Dr. Bishwajit Mollik. The conference is all about bridging network. So we already got some good news for our young researchers. So already they build some tools, and with your help, they will build something more, and that will be used for our planning purposes. So now I'd like to invite our another panelist, Dr. Abirul Jabbar, our Chief Planning Officer, Khulna City Corporation.
Yeah, thanks, Professor Zakir, and thanks the presenter. So I would like to come the first presenter, the climate budget on Oslo city. So I am very happy to see that 80% forest and 32% development area of Oslo city. This is a good sign for the city, but in context of Bangladesh and especially in Khulna, just we have rivers. 86% built up area, suppose, and forest and forest is very low. We have some natural drainage. This is the Khulna situation, and we have the Khulna water, to reduce the waterlogging problem, we have drainage master plan. And you are now at this stage, you are reopening the rivers and canals, but already we have a plan to restore all the canals and rivers in our city, in Khulna city. And we have two more proposals for the opening of new canals to drain out the storm water from the main city to the river to reduce the water logging. We are actually planning, and day by day we are achieving the climate friendly city. Not now, but in future. This is our goal. And we are happy that the Bangladesh Climate Change Trust Fund, we have the government fund who are allocate money for the project. This is from the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. This is also a good opportunity for all the Purosabhas, municipalities and city area to adopt this kind of budget on climate. And we prepare also from the city corporation the climate risks map. In the Khulna city and around regional land use, the Khulna Development Authority is responsible for preparing master plan, but master plan not yet addressing the climate risks map or something like that. Now we are trying to incorporate the climate risks issue in the master plan, and we are frequently communicating with Khulna Development Authority to address this issue in our city level. Next, the carbon footprint is a good study for Khulna also. Though the Khulna previously there was a industrial city, but now no industry, is prevailing there. Only one cement factory is there, and all our jute mills is already closed. So regarding the carbon footprint, only the vehicle movement and other things, this can be addressed properly. And we have lost lot of vegetation, like the backend land is built up, and you see our presentation that how many informal settlements is growing up in the city area, and this is a threat for the forestation. That is, we are losing the vegetation day by day in the city area. This is a threat also for Khulna city, and the heat island is also increasing day by day. This is also threat for Khulna city. Regarding the last presentation, resilient livelihood. So Khulna city is near the coastal belt, and most of the climate migrants, about 68% of climate migrants come from the coastal belt to city area and temporarily live here. Some permanently live here, and they are come to and live into the slum area, and squatter settlement development is growing rapidly, and housing problem is there. And one thing, KCC is not collected any revenue from the climate migrants household. They have no household. They have the land tenure, no land belongs to them. All are government land and private land they are living, and KCC has to provide the service because they are human being. We have to manage the budget from our revenue budget and allocate the budget for climate migrants to provide the service like waste management, like a small road and street lighting system. These are provided by the KCC, and Khulna City Corporation is Khulna City Corporation always invite the donor agency and international donor, national donor to assist the KCC in improvement of livelihood in the slum area. So these are the So thanks now for now, and from the KCC we invite all of you to assist this type of activities in our city. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Abirul Jabbar, talking about KCC's initiatives, vision, and what are the future plan of KCC to improve the livelihood and contributing to ecosystem services. From the platform, I want to request On-Think, our administrator, and Abirul Jabbar, Chief Planning Officer. Following the Oslo experience, we can also develop some tree plantation program, city-wide tree plantation program involving the city population. From their door-side to wider city context, we can develop this sort of type of program so that we can, after 2 or 3 years, we can also show our experience, our city experience, so what we improve and what we contribute to our ecosystem, building ecosystem services and biodiversity conservation. So now I'd like to our another distinguished panelist, Dr. Farhana Ahmed, principal specialist CGIS. So I like to invite her to give overall reflection of the session, climate change and ecosystem services. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me the floor. I'm actually a little bit sorry for my late arrival, and I unfortunately missed the presentation by Ms. Lynn Marie Heimberg. I think it was an excellent presentation from the experience that she shared of the city of Oslo in how they have implemented this plantation scheme and how it contributes to the planning process. So it would be nice if I could have been present during that presentation. Apart from that, the two presentations provided by two groups, one on quantifying carbon footprints, a comparative analysis of Khulna, and also another study, both that one is also on resilient livelihood for poverty mitigation and climate adaptation. Both of these studies actually is on Khulna, and as mentioned by our previous speaker, this both study will very much help our Khulna City Corporation and Khulna Development Authority in their ongoing activities in creating or building a resilient city, that is Khulna, because we know that Khulna city is one of the thriving cities apart from Dhaka. It is one of the major cities in Bangladesh, and it is also located in the coastal zone, which is one of the most vulnerable, climate vulnerable areas of the country. So in that respect, Khulna city requires attention from all aspects, and the theme of this conference that has been rightly chosen, that climate adaptation and ecosystem services. This is a very key, crucial point, I would say, in the context of the global climate change adaptation policy that is being taken worldwide from the IPCC, and also the call from the different environmental agencies throughout the world. They are also calling for this integrated process where when we talk about climate change, we do not think it as a segregated issue. We should integrate it with the climate with the ecosystem services, because we all know that ecosystem services, it is very difficult to assess ecosystem services with the different type of, we know that there are different type of services that the ecosystem provides. So in that respect, it is, I would say that theme has been chosen wisely by the conference, by the advisors. It has been a very lightly chosen topic. So I would comment these two groups that they have selected very nice topics for their presentation. Specifically for carbon footprint, it is very essential that we know the carbon footprint of all the cities, and as carbon emission is one of the major causes that contributes to greenhouse gas emission, and that is also one of the causes of our climate change. So for adaptation and mitigation services, we all need these. This information is very vital for the cities, as the most of the contribution is from city area, mainly from the transportation and also from the industries, and also the emission comes from the use of we know the electronic items, especially AC, fridge, that are used especially in the urban areas. And also regarding the resilient livelihood, we know that the slums, and there are a lot of slums and squatters, especially in the cities, that due to urban migration or due to migration from rural areas to urban areas, these people suddenly they are bound to go to the cities looking for new jobs and new economic opportunities. In that respect, how to build resilient livelihood, that is also very crucial. And it is very important that in this crisis of climate change, as we know that already sea level is rising, we have a lot of studies on this, and we know that within 2030, 101 meter, from the IPCC report, we know that in cities the rainfall will increase more, there will be more increased rainfall, there will be more flooding, and there will be more threats due to increased heat, the heat island effect. So in that context, it is also very important to see how these people who are migrating in the city areas, they can cope with the, they can build their resilience, they can cope with the climate change threats, the impacts of climate change on different disasters. So it is very crucial. So I would once again thank the organizers for inviting me, and also thanking both of these presenting groups. I would conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Farhana Ahmed, for your nice reflection. So now I'd like to invite our distinguished guest. Today we have City Administrator, Mr. M.D. Firoz Sarkar. I'd like to thank him for coming here from his busy schedule. Now I'd like to invite him to give some reflection to our young researcher and also have some overall reflection. So before your presentation, I'd like to our General Secretary, Sheikh Mohammad Mehdi Hassan, for giving some reflection about our presentation and overall session.
I'm taking the advantage, not making a kind of remark as a panelist. So it's really a great honor. In this session, we expected papers from several cities. Fortunately or unfortunately, it is only about Khulna. So there is one issue, and I have a lot of memories in Khulna. Not only as a student of Khulna University, but practical experiences since 2008 until 2022. So I have long working experience in Khulna city. Another dimension is Lynn is one of my best friend from Technical University of Berlin. We studied together. So that means there are few personal connections. I wanted to declare it. And if these personal connections, if we can make a kind of professional connection, Oslo city and Khulna city, if we can establish a kind of formal relationship and formal partnership, because the head of Khulna City Corporation, like the administrator, who is also the divisional commissioner, I learned that you studied environment, ecology, disaster, so you are the real champion and taking the advantage. Like if we can declare something, because Lynn could also represent the Oslo municipality. She is heading the sustainability department. And if Oslo city and Khulna city, if we can bridge together and if we can have some kind of formalities, then it could be itself a great achievement for our conference. With this humble request, I think Khulna is a unique city. The climate risk vulnerabilities are totally different than Oslo. But in Khulna, systematically climate risk assessment is done. So very systematically climate risk assessment done. Scientific data are handed over to Khulna City Corporation and KDA. I'm not sure whether they're using this data or not, but this could be a good basis for research and developing new projects. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Sheikh Mohammad Mehdi Hassan, for talking about some new connection and new building. So now I'd like to invite MD Firoz Sarkar.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Respected guests, distinguished delegates, development partners, panelists, presenters, and colleagues, and three presenters also. It's my honor to conclude today's important discussion on resilient livelihoods, poverty mitigation, and climate adaptation for vulnerable communities in Khulna city. Khulna as a climate vulnerable urban center faces significant challenges, yet it also holds immense potential for sustainable transformation. Khulna City Corporation is committed to provide services to our most vulnerable populations, those living in informal settlements that one of our presenters stated, facing extreme poverty and bearing the effects of the climate shocks. Though targeted interventions, we are working to enhance livelihoods, improve basic services, and build long-term resilience. We have many initiatives in KCC to mitigate the problems and mentioned here. But before going to address the problems, we have to know the causes. Say that what are the impacts of the climate changes? You know, some of the presenters mentioned here, or one first term session in that I known from the presentation, hot temperature, severe storm, increased drought, loss of species, health risks that I will mention here, poverty and displacement, and finally, Ms. Lane stated that sea level rise and global warming. It's the most important factors that impacts the climate change and impact the ecosystem also. You know, biodiversity and ecosystem of the Sundarban threatened due to several natural and human-induced pressure. Two most important climate factors that influences the ecosystem of Sundarbans. One is temperature, and second is precipitation. If we look over the gendered vulnerabilities in the face of climate change in the Sundarban, first we have to address water insecurity and public health crisis, that is water quality of that area, lack of sanitation facilities for especially for the women, livelihood activities, and consequent health risk for Sundarban areas people, and maternal health challenges for the women, especially for the women. Building climate resilience through policy and connectivity intervention is very much needed for this purpose. You know, the Sundarban, around the Sundarban, so many problems arises due to the climate changes. If we look into the matter, that water logging is the main problem of that area. I am the divisional commissioner. I know the every situation in the within the divisions. For your kind information, I want to inform you that the 75,000 acres of land in that area in Khulna division is waterlogged now. And besides Sundarban, 5,600 acres of land are waterlogged near Sundarban area. But we have to focus on this, and we are trying to take a long-term initiatives for this. Then the adaptation system will be resilient or sustainable. Then we are trying to reopen the 4 jute mills for the women and men that are the migrant, and that are they are the what I say, they are the no residence and no work. So we are trying to reopen the four jute mills. I have talked to the government so that that people can get the jobs, and they can income source can be pointed out. We are providing services to the migrants people freely. That Abirul Jabbar stated that from the KCC we are providing free health service and other and principal service also, and some what can I say, very much needed then health service, sanitation also we are providing from the KCC. And another project we are taking, the tree plantation within the city corporation area, and that will emit carbon, that will be helps to carbon emission. I thanks Ms. Lin that he has she or she what can I say, stated the important issues, the climate budget. But in our country, climate budget is not separated, but we take the budget from our main sources. within the division or within the city, there is a gross budget. We take from that gross budget for the climate change issues. To face the issues, we take the budget from the main budget. But this should be addressed that we should have climate change budget separately. Whatever it is, however, we cannot do this alone. To scale up our efforts, we need increased funding from national and international development agencies. Second is stronger collaboration with INGOs, NGOs, and research institutions for innovative solutions that we are getting from now and from previous days. And community-led partnerships to ensure inclusivity and sustainability, which is very much needed now. KCC has a clear vision, but we invite all stakeholders to join us in this mission. Let us turn today's insights into tangible actions for a more resilient Khulna. This session brought together critical research examining the intersection of climate change impacts and ecosystem services across Bangladesh. Key themes emerged that have some significant implications for national policy and local adaptation strategies. These findings collectively underscore that Bangladesh's climate resilience depends on maintaining functional ecosystems while addressing socio-economic vulnerabilities. The research presented provide a strong evidence base for both policy reform and community-level action across the country's diverse ecological zones. I would like to praise the BIP, Bangladesh Institute of Planners, for organizing this fruitful event of knowledge sharing. Such collaborative efforts are vital to translating research into action. Thank you all for your commitment and support. Finally, I want to say that we cannot do alone to address these issues. We need national and international help, and some local NGOs and international NGOs, INGOs also. Thank you for inviting me to say something before you. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
So thank you, our distinguished guest, our Khulna City Administrator and Divisional Commissioner of Khulna. So now I'd like to invite our chair of the session, Professor Dr. Ishrat Islam, to wrap up and conclude the session.
Thank you so much. First, I'd like to thank our guest of honor, our keynote presenter, and two young researchers for their beautiful presentation. The theme of this conference is spatial planning for just transition in Bangladesh. I want to focus on the key terms here, like spatial planning. So whatever we talk about, the discussion about carbon footprint, poverty alleviation, climate change, all these are linked with the land, the spatial planning. But unfortunately, in Bangladesh, still we don't have any spatial planning, which is the basic need, and I know Bangladesh Institute of Planner is working on it. They have handed over the framework of spatial planning to our policymakers. If this happens, then definitely the climate change issues, the poverty issues, and other major issues of development will definitely be addressed. And another keyword, the just transition. What is just? Not just, I like to say that it's not just for like the human being. It should be just for environment, all the living organism, the plant and the life in this planet. So it's really difficult. And this just transition is not that easy. All the globally, we know that we are all fighting for justice, the just transition. And now we are in the state, the entire world in a state that this balance is somehow very much disrupted in terms of environment, in terms of economy, in terms of social interaction. We are all in a very turmoil situation, and this is really a challenge. Let's come to the today's papers, the keynote presentation. We heard from Ms. Lin how they are working in Oslo city, and they have worked on vulnerability assessment for Oslo and translating those in their city, in their spatial planning. And in case of Bangladesh, both the papers on Khulna, and Khulna is one of the most vulnerable region in Bangladesh. And we have our guest of honor from Khulna, we have one panelist from Khulna, and we have Professor Zakir from Khulna University. So somehow it is focused on Khulna. So in case of Khulna, we are happy to know they have already finished the risk assessment. Now the challenge is how to translate those in the planning of Khulna. That is the big challenge. And this is where the political economy, the social power play, everything's actually comes in then. How to deal with that, that's the major question. And I like to thank our young researchers because they have quantified the carbon footprint. Like 12, 15 years back, one of my students worked on ecological footprint of Dhanmondi residential area. Dhanmondi residential area, you know, it's considered as one of the like posh, prestigious residential area in Dhaka. And they have found out that the ecological footprint of Dhanmondi is 500 times bigger than the area of Dhanmondi. So this is how we are developing. This is how we are urbanizing. So these young researchers, they have calculated the carbon footprint. And the carbon footprint is not only related to planning, it's related to our everyday lifestyle. Yesterday, temperature of Dhaka was close to 40. Today is varying, in the morning it's a little bit cool, 34 to 37, 38. And now I am shivering here in this room. It's cold. So it's related to our everyday lifestyle. The way our family member is traveling, what we are eating, where our food coming from, how we are traveling. All these issues are related to carbon footprint. So it's a huge, complex area where I'm very much happy that our young researcher is already started hammering on this, and the further research on this topic will definitely work on how Khulna city, Dhaka city are dealing with that, because the climate migrant we cannot ignore. The climate migrants are coming and they will come. It's for climate reason people are migrating, it's for economic reason, for social reason, for employment, all these reasons they are coming to city. And we are urbanizing, but how we are urbanizing, how we are going to accommodate this population. And we know that all the cities, we have a lot of plans, plan has already been prepared, lot are in the process of preparation, and how far we are actually addressing this issue. And this is where we have to like focus on. The climate budget, often we put the climate budget in one basket, disaster in another basket, poverty in one basket, and budget in separate basket. But how to integrate those? How to open up this basket and mix together and come up with the integrated solution? Because I know climate budget, we have our own budget from Bangladesh, and we have a lot of budget coming from outside. But where those money are going and what we are achieving? Because for the conservation of wetland in Dhaka or Khulna, we don't have any budget. But this is definitely related with climate change. This is definitely related with the livelihood. This is related with ecosystem services. So I don't want to linger my speech. Already I think we are hungry. Let me finish here and thank you all and hope to meet you sometime. Particularly we have Bishwajit Molling. It's long time that I don't see you. You said that you are here like 1 week back. but I didn't get a chance to meet with you. And thank you, Miss Lane. Hope to see you sometime in Dhaka and Khulna. And this sort of conference always make some of us nostalgic because we meet our old friends, our researchers. And thank you all. Thank you so much.
So now it's time to lunch break. So yeah, first floor, you and second floor, you will take your lunch.